Jack in the Box. Early one summer, or it might have been a late spring, I popped into a Jack in the Box in search of refreshment. The day was hot. A young, poor, first world poor traveller needing to stretch every calorie out of every dollar possible. The kind of game the young backpackers play right up until their parents deposit money into their account. A mockery of the actual poor, sure, but in this case I'm still committed to the game. The exact specification of the meal I ordered escapes me. The size doesn't. Stretching this meal as far as I can, I leave with a drink receptacle so large that both hands fail to reach the circumference. It's refillable. I punch the air. After a high glycemic wander around a neighbourhood I probably shouldn't have been in, I returned for a refill. We all know I'm breaking the rules. Those at Jack in the Box that day did, but they turned a blind eye nevertheless. Grateful and now severely sunburned, I remember thinking Jack in the Box should open more restaurants in colder places. Really cold places. San Diego provides the backdrop to an early pioneer of the fast food story. With such entrenched roots in Southern California, in the golden age, it is a wonder that Jack in the Box doesn't hold as much global gravitas as many of the household brands today. 1951 might be the start of Jack in the Box, but the idea was cultivated well before, when Robert Oscar Peterson opened a drive-in restaurant in 1941 named Topsy's. Prior to this, Peterson was a traveling salesman that sold milkshake mixers. Southern California milkshake mixer salesman starts a billion-dollar burger chain. Where have I heard that before? Oh yes. Well, Peterson can lay claim to being the original milkshake mixer salesman turned fast food entrepreneur. Post-war, Topsy's would be turned into Oscars, clearly a man with intelligence, having graduated with a degree in economics and working in naval intelligence during World War II. A smart guy with a penchant for clowns, it appears. Oscars had a circus-like theme to it, selling double-deck hamburgers. It was one of these restaurants, the place on El Cajon Boulevard, San Diego, that would be converted to the first Jack in the Box. Of course, a talking clown was the natural instrument to introduce what is a new drive-thru concept to a still unsure clientele. A clown with a two-way speaker would be used to greet customers and take their order. Apparently there was a sign, "Pull forward, Jack will speak with you," was placed to help guide people through the process. I mentioned that the whole drive-thru process was a new concept, and it was. Jack in the Box is credited as a drive-thru pioneer, and in many ways this is true, but the invention of the two-way speaker, to my knowledge, still belongs to Harry Snyder of In-N-Out, which was introduced in 1948. Harry worked hard on that, after work in his garage. He deserves respect. This is the concept that everyone in the business uses today. Of course, I may be wrong, but from what I can tell is that Jack in the Box was sort of the first chain to implement restaurants focused on drive-thru only. If this is the case, it is a little disingenuous. However, Jack in the Box was still one of the early adopters and pioneers of the format. Still to this day, Jack in the Box claims that roughly 90% of its customers use the drive-thru or take-out. So if you're eating an ultimate cheeseburger in a Jack in the Box restaurant, you might be the kind of person that thinks outside the box, or inside the box in this case. For those less familiar with Jack in the Box, allow me to familiarize the goings-on at Jack's. You know, when you want a cheeseburger for breakfast, or a stack of pancakes for dinner, with say, a couple of tacos and an egg roll on the side, and you don't like getting out of your car much, you might really like Jack in the Box. If you like consuming various strains of exotic flora late at night, you may really like Jack in the Box. At the very least, consider allowing Jack in the Box to take care of the catering, which Jack's appears more than willing to do. Obviously, the target audience for Jack in the Box is adults. Just as well, like others in the industry, the company has had to deal with its fair share of unwanted E. coli attention. In 1993, there was a large outbreak of E. coli in many restaurants. In the Seattle area, there was reports that a number of children were affected, seriously ill, and tragically, a small number died. A dark time for Jack in the Box. The cause was said to be undercooked patties. This was common in the industry at the time, and not merely a Jack in the Box issue, requiring the USDA to mandate new systems for meat and poultry processing plants in the United States. So how does this affect a brand like Jack in the Box? Well, obviously people tend not to forget the death of children that went out one day for a burger, but rather than focusing on the mistakes and morality of the issue that's detailed and complex, from a brand viewpoint, Jack in the Box can't look to business as usual in a few months as a viable strategy. The impact is deep. In fact, months could turn into an entire generation in some instances if parents, rightly, feel that Jack in the Box is better avoided when it's time for a hamburger. Then the early years of brand forming that fast food companies aspire to achieve but usually deny have been lost. Worse, it has gone to the competition. Another clown is ready to move in whenever the opportunity arises. Clowns are known for being opportunistic. This might be why more focus is given to a target audience that might not have been impacted by the headlines, or those on another planet altogether. When deciding on how you wish your company to be represented, the public face of the brand, it can be a tricky thing to get right. Jack in the Box chose to use a CEO stroke clown stroke Jack in the Box kind of ping pong ball headed man so bizarre I think it kind of works. Although my own personal opinion would have been a silent character, it would have been funnier, but that's just me. The ads range from strange to stranger to funny. An entire backstory is odd. Hunting down people at home and then handing out a beating for criticizing Jack in the Box food is, let's say, interesting. Running for president is clever, and the ads funny. Blowing up the boardroom is nuts. So with the early pioneering pedigree that stems from the proliferation of drive-through hamburger chains that have come out of Southern California in post-war United States, a wide menu available when others are not, an experienced drive-through operation with a ping-pong-headed CEO that will hunt you down if you feel the food is not up to scratch, then why has the company been slow to expand when others that started much later have? Well, to put this in perspective, Jack in the Box isn't by many metrics a small chain, far from it. With more than 2,200 locations in 21 states and also the island of Guam, it is a big chain. But should Jack in the Box be bigger? Well, places like McDonald's and Burger King, which both started out at similar times to Jack in the Box, have gone on to be huge household names around the world, both franchised. So does Jack's. While there are many factors that can determine the success of one brand over another, one point stands out with Jack in the Box, and there are many that tick the same box. The franchise system and subsequent expansion strategy is key to growing at scale. If you take a look at where the 2,200 Jack in the Box restaurants are located, you'll find a heavy concentration around the southwest of the United States, predominantly in California and Texas. You'd expect this from a chain that has a company-owned growth strategy, but it is common with regional chains that have franchising too. Being a Southern California chain, it's easy to draw the comparison with the likes of McDonald's or a Taco Bell, but sometimes slow and steady is much better. However, Jack in the Box might have an identity issue. Those that are fans of the chain are fans for a reason, but to compete in a very competitive market at the kind of scale expected requires some real high-level branding. Jack in the Box seems very eclectic, like the company is trying to reinvent itself too many times. Take this banner on the Jack in the Box corporate site. More than 70 years of awesome, and well, we're just getting started. The start was 70 years ago, surely, but that might be the problem. Some of the heritage may have been lost. It could of course be a statement of intent, in which there is a plan to tackle the position of Jack in the Box within a competitive market. It seems right now, and of course this could change, but other competitors have a much broader target market, much more clearly focused. Perceived premium has seen a rapid rise. More choice is now available. Delivery is growing in popularity. Some of the advantages that Jack in the Box had in the past are not so relevant. Jack in the Box can still of course spring back. Whether you think inside the box or out, or you find yourself being chased down the street by a strange family man with a ping pong head and business attire that wants to have a word about your opinions, you know that at least you can grab a cheeseburger for breakfast. Just make sure you leave a good review. All things Jack in the Box. Let me know. Thanks for watching.